This is the Weeabuds podcast.
We're going to be doing like a year in review pretty much, right?
Yeah. And talk.
What a crappy year.
What a poop year, yeah. It's made of shiza.
But I think we both played some pretty good games.
Yeah, I guess we're sort of ending the year with a shared game experience. Finally getting around to Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, let's kick it off with Kingdom Hearts 3 because I think it's probably the oldest game we played this year.
Yeah.
Well,
no, for me, my real game of the year is also the oldest game I played this. So we'll get to that.
We'll circle to that. Yeah. Because I have a feeling I know which one that
Absolutely.
is. But Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm kind of surprised by it. I'm actually liking it more than I thought I would. I feel like this is like the first Kingdom Hearts game that actually has enjoyable gameplay.
Ooh, that's going to hurt some people. So, I thought Kingdom Hearts 2 had pretty great gameplay as well.
It was much better than 1. It wasn't great, but there was some cool stuff there with like forms and stuff. But
yeah.
Overall, it was.
They have forms in Kingdom Hearts 3. They're just managed different.
They're crazy with that sort of stuff in 3.
Pretty bombastic, yeah.
I feel like Kingdom Hearts 3 is a game where they just took like different game systems and put them on top of each other. It leads to spastic gameplay experience that things are just exploding everywhere at any given moment.
I think they had a lot of fun with it for sure. I agree with you. I think it's like the culmination of all the experimentation they've done throughout the series. One element that is probably missing that would let me feel more comfortable making that statement would be some kind of a card-based system. But
from Chain of Memories,
from Chain of Memories, and from Birth by Sleep, they both had this kind of weird card type thing. Like in Birth by Sleep,
that's true. I remember they had like decks, right?
Yeah. So I'm not going to say that they work like exactly like the decks and like the card system from Chain of Memories, but there is a sort of like sorting gameplay element with the grand magic, I guess it's called, where like after you do something a certain amount of time, then it loads up a grand magic of some kind. So if you attack a certain number of times, it fills your attack and you can get like a form change. And if you use a certain magic a certain number of times, you get enhanced magic. So it's strange though, because I've done instances where I've spammed magic and I still get a form change. So I don't know exactly what the trigger is. I think there's a rule to it, a logic. I don't quite understand it, as you just demonstrated. But there's some there, and I like it. I think it's probably the most, taking all those disparate battle systems, putting them together. I think they've done a great job. And I know we're getting to this like 2 years late, not the most timely, but it's like for a series that's been going on for like
20 years.
like nearly 2 decades at this point. I think there should be some kind of leeway. Give me like a year or two to be emotionally prepared. We're in a place to accept Kingdom Hearts back into my heart.
Well, I think we were both waiting for like a Switch version that never came.
Yeah, the only reason I got it is because you were like, "Now's the time, Tristan. It's on sale.
$17.
It's like you get the whole damn thing, and so it's like, oh, let's get the DLC as well. Which who knows what's up with that DLC? We'll find out later. But and then the most nightmarish thing you've said to me in the last week or so is that you asked me if I was going to get that music game, the what is it called?
Melody of
Memory, yeah. And they just released that for like Nintendo Switch. I don't recall what other systems, if any others.
I think it's on all of them.
Yeah, well,
I think it's even on Steam.
Switch would be where I'd get it, but actually, I've banned Switch in my life, so I'm not getting it. But like maybe I will. Maybe they'll come out. I'll get it when it's on sale. And it will have to be on sales, like just the most sale of sale you've ever seen. Like that's it.
Like $10.
The shit's got. It's got to be. It's got to be added. No, it's got to be real low. Anyway, the scary thing you told me you asked me if I was gonna get the Melody Memory. I was like, hell no, gotta be kidding me, son. And then he's like, you gotta, because it continues the story. It's like a direct follow up or something. And I'm like, no, 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 because
Can't escape
as
it.
soon as you said that, I was like, there's no doubt he is correct. There's obviously, and yeah, it's like, oh god, I knew it. You know, like let me make a little tangent on this. So I played basically all of the Kingdom Hearts games that really matter. There was one that I missed.
That coded.
Yeah, that was the mobile game. But beyond that, I played all the other ones, and I don't want to go to coded or so let me clarify. This is not true, actually. What I just said. I think I've missed out on a bunch of games that apparently matter, and it's all the remixes. These ridiculous remixes. Like they released Kingdom Hearts 1.5 remix or whatever, and I was like, what the hell? What the hell?
Did they add any content? Like I know they like did upgrades. Now they have costumes and
they add
Kingdom Hearts 1.
They add some content stuff. Like I'll tell you. So it's like, for example, whichever one had the Chain of Memories game in it, which is probably like 1.5 remix.
No, I think like that's separate, dude. You have to buy that one separate.
Whatever. I don't know. I think
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
Like they have like 10 different packages. Those Kingdom Hearts games.
I have no idea. So the one with Chain of Memories. Chain of Memories was basically a direct follow-up to Kingdom Hearts 1. It was released for the Game Boy Advance. Some like a year or less than a year after the original game for PlayStation 2. Back in
like 2004 or something.
No,
like
it's
that?
like 2003 at the latest. Anyway, so they released 2003 for the original game. I don't know for Chain of Memories. So Chain of Memories basically is just like got filler stuff so that you could play a Kingdom Hearts game on a Game Boy Advance. They were trying to like capitalize on the IP. It's basically a retread of Kingdom Hearts. They've done this sort of thing with their kind of in-between games where there's like, okay, we did this, let's repurpose these assets or like these concepts instead of reinventing the whole thing. Chain of Memories had like a little bit of a like sparse, unique story throughout it, and the significant plot component really exists at the end. It's just kind of like and then this, and that's the transition in Kingdom Hearts 2. Basically, Sora losing his memories because he had been manipulated by this character named Naminé, who I don't want to get into, but like, so Sora has to go into a stasis pod, and his memories have to be rechained, and in that process, everyone who used to know him forgets about him, or kind of forgets about him. And in Kingdom Hearts 2, that game played out, and so you're just like, okay, someday we'll get Kingdom Hearts 3. And then years have gone by, and since Kingdom Hearts 2, they released, let me give it 358 over 2 days, was I think a Nintendo DS game.
Yeah,
it was a Nintendo DS game. It followed Roxas, Sora's nobody, and
is he Sora's nobody?
Well, people know this, Mike. People know.
I don't know.
People know the answer to this question, and we have been lucky enough not to be spoiled. After all of these years, I've been waiting to find out. Ever since I played basically one of the best Kingdom Hearts games, if not the best, Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, I feel like you are right. Like pretty much all of these spin-off Kingdom Hearts games are reused assets, except for
Birth by Sleep is hot. That's like kind of a shorter,
the best game in the series.
Yeah, it's a shorter game. It's more focused. It's far more plot driven. It's a coherent plot, actually, and the
emotional plot.
Yeah, for a game series that's so kind of, I don't know, kind of awkward,
obtuse.
Yeah, very kind of absurd. And I told you yesterday, I'm like starting to believe that the game itself, like it's trying to be absurd. Like it's actually, now I'm starting to kind of be like, oh, wait a second, this might actually be what it's trying to do. It's intentionally trying to subvert the ridiculous nature of the JRPG. Like, I don't know, like I feel like I'm giving it way too much credit, and this is just Tetsuya Nomura being kind of, I don't know, going insane. But like,
just a little.
I think I see like Dream Drop Distance Okay, not Dream Drop Distance. Sorry, I'm starting to get all these damn spin-off games mixed. But like, yeah, so I'm starting to get like Birth by Sleep. They had a really good plot, and it was tight. It's focused on 3 characters, kind of 3 different scenarios, and so I felt it did good. These other ones, they actually mostly don't have too much plot. I'll say 358 over 2 had a good amount of plot in it, surprisingly. It was focused on like the relationships between Roxas, Axel, and like memory fragments of Kyrie taken from Sora to create someone called Shion, who may or may not be a real person by the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, which horrifies me. Anyway, so there was some plot there.
For the most part, though, I feel like the Kingdom Hearts series could take like an hour or 2 from the beginning of the game, and like an hour from the middle, and then 2 hours from the ending, and that's the game. And then everything else is
hell yeah, damn right,
just filler.
Damn right.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is a little bit worse with it, where like they don't even have that hour at the beginning; it jumps straight into the filler. Like this whole game's plot is going to be in the finale.
This game, yeah, I think it's a terribly paced game, and
but it's fun.
It's got the most refined battle system, without a doubt. I agree.
Best level design.
Best level design. I will concede to that. It's got the best graphics, obviously. It's the music
Does
is not.
It, though?
Yeah, absolutely. And then the best graphics. It doesn't have the best music.
I don't. You mentioned that you don't think Yoko Shimomura did that much in that game.
If she, I don't think she did actually.
I'm inclined to agree with you. Like most of the music in this game is either rehashed from Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 and like the other spin-offs, or it's stuff that obviously is not her.
Yeah, I know these songs. There's a lot of them that I've heard before. And a lot of like battle themes and like other random motifs or themes I've heard time and again. Those aren't things you need Yoko Shimomura to be like too heavily. She wrote them already. They're written down. These are different arrangements or different with different instruments and things like that. I'm not going to downplay the importance of that. I don't know how these make music, but like Kingdom Hearts is like big on music. It's like a big thing that makes it so good. It's the thing that's resonated with me a lot over the years. Like I told you, I actually when I was drunk one time, I cried over Shion's theme. I was trying to break something at Phil's house. Anyway. but man, I got this thing about trying to break shit when I'm drunk. Break things when I'm drunk.
Yeah, you do.
That's funny.
Let's move on to another Tetsuya Nomura game.
Oh God,
that we played.
Wait, what are we going to talk about? You did talk about Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, this is like Tetsuya Nomura here, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Begin the year and end it with that guy.
Oh man, Final Fantasy VII remake. What to say? Well, you know what? Let's go.
Let's back up a little bit. Like 5 years ago, you and I made a bet about Final Fantasy VII remake.
Oh hell yeah! This is cool.
I said that at the time it wasn't announced yet, but I strongly felt that they would announce a Final Fantasy VII remake by that original game's original release date. Like an anniversary type thing.
Yeah.
And then shortly after they announced it, and Final Fantasy VII Remake, I won $100 off that bet. But it turns out, like now that the game's in our hands, that game is not an actual remake of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, it's not even a reimagining. It's a sequel. Like there's no doubt this is a sequel. Like there's no arguing about it. Like it's not a side quo. It's a sequel. There's some things.
Something's happening.
Yeah, something's happening, and it's referencing events that already happened. So because of that, I would say it's some kind of a sequel. I don't know what it's a sequel to, or like, but I think like technically you have to give it that it's actually a sequel.
I would agree with you, or something. Something's going on.
The other term is like we've seen with movies that do stuff like this is reboot. It's like
it's not a reboot.
It's a soft reboot. They call it a soft reboot.
It's such a weird soft reboot. If they did that though, there's like 2 characters running around that clearly have memories or some sort of connection to the original game.
And that's Spock from the new versions of Star that came out, Kelvin timeline Star Trek.
Yeah, but
He's Sephiroth.
you know, those aren't really true reboots either. Those are sequels in their own way.
They call those soft reboots. That's what they call them, soft reboot.
I'm more inclined to think that Star Wars is a soft, like the Episode 7.
Why? Because they just jacked. They stole the same things and did it or repurposed it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well,
but with new characters.
They were going that route, and then Rian Johnson came in for Last Jedi and said, "I disagree, Mike," and he just completely crashed in there. And I still think that movie should have ended right after the Snoke killing.
It's something or like that. But anyway, Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a shame that they're not using that battle Final Fantasy 16 because Final Fantasy VII's battle system, the remake battle system, is pretty good. I think you mentioned that this is like bar none your favorite JRPG battle system.
I think it is. I think like I mentioned was in the last podcast. It was like there isn't an RPG battle system that I'm like that's the reason I play the game. I play the game for music, art direction, bombastic storytelling, and plot turn. Rarely on the character development. That's rarely a thing that the JRPG is known for, if I'm being honest. That might not be the case with Persona. I haven't played the Persona series. People are like, why the hell are you hosting some kind of a game podcast and you haven't played Persona? It's like, you gotta be... I'm like, no, leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Like, there's some games that I haven't played, and I've played a lot of games. Persona isn't one of them. Anyway, the point is, the battle system of a remake is actually snappy, challenging, it's strategic, tactical would be the appropriate. It's basically you have to like respond to the situation that you're in that like moment. And every kind of random encounter, well, they're not random, they're very intentional. They're all designed. Like I've seen people like it's like almost like the next evolution of these live combat like engagements on the map. We've moved away from random encounters over the years, which is a good thing. We've given
even Dragon Quest doesn't have them anymore.
Yeah, and it's like I think ultimately a better system. Like we haven't lost anything too significant from that. It's like what you're adding challenge. The challenge shouldn't be there. I think some games have a problem with this, like complaints that the game's too easy. But like I think there are handles for that. But like Final Fantasy VII Remake takes it to the next step where not only are these enemies just on the map, they're also like the way they're placed on the map will significantly dictate like the rules of engagement. And you have to like use different attacks for different enemies. It's very interesting, you know what I mean?
I thought its biggest achievement was that they managed to make every character unique,
Yeah. It was balanced.
In the original Final Fantasy VII, everyone's pretty much all the same, depending on how your material loadouts are. But in this, Cloud doesn't control anything like Barret, who doesn't control anything like Tifa. It's just really fun switching between the characters, and all of them have their own uses. Who did you spend your most time playing as?
Absolutely Cloud, and then second probably as maybe Tifa.
Tifa was like who I was usually, mostly because she's really good at building up the stagger meter. Yeah. So I took advantage. Did you do any of the post game stuff?
I said I wanted to. I ended up not doing it.
I didn't do it either. That stuff was hard, especially Bahamut. Yeah. I couldn't do Bahamut.
There's a lot of people online. They don't like that battle system, Mike. I read about it. A lot of people don't like it.
That's like a personal decision. I thought it was pretty good, and coming from me, that's saying something. I was kind of furious when I found out that they were turning the battle system into an action-based battle system.
It felt good, dude. So, it felt like they honored the old one. I felt it was just an improvement. People give a lot of flack about all the weird materia and not like enough complex materia, and like
they'll get to that. Like they can't go all out on materia in this game because they have to have room for materia in the next game.
Man, I don't envy their task. They have they're gonna have a hard time dealing with all the different materias and things. But anyway, that's Final Fantasy VII Remake. That is not either of our it's neither of our game of the. So let's jump into the game of the year just in case we don't make some
before we forget
yeah.
about
Let me first kind of take so. We never wrote. It's very interesting. We never wrote a review article for Death Stranding when it came out in 2019. We did not write a review article. There were articles we wrote, but
it was one of our main reasons for creating Weeabuds was Death Stranding. We felt that the game was getting unfair negative press, and we wanted to
that's right.
offer a alternative viewpoint.
Absolutely. I was like, no way. I'm not gonna let these people trash Death Stranding. Well, it released in like early November, like what was it, November 10th or something like that? I forgot. But
yeah,
I remember it was like kind of split the reviewers down the middle, and somebody like IGN gave it like a bad score, like 6 or something bad. And, and it was like, oh no, Death Stranding, Kojima, no. And so I was like horrified. And then that's when I started checking out other reviews, and there was like, this game is glorious. And then other people were like, this game, oh god, what a doo-doo stinker. And so it was like, what's going on with this game? Anyway, so playing the game, because the reviews came out a week before the actual, and it started frustrating me. And some of the reviews, you could tell they hadn't even played the game. And but like, I got real deep into that thing. I really liked it. And
I feel like Death Stranding is a game that you get what you put into it.
Yeah. I hear that.
Especially with regards to like the social networking mechanics, like building stuff and like helping other people build their things.
Yep.
Like it gets to be pretty addictive.
It's a unique game. You gotta admit, you won't play a game like that very often. Or I can't think of games to compare it to really. But Death Stranding, I think it was, if I recall correctly, it was on podcasts that we described. It was like game of the year 2000.
Yeah, it was our game of the year last year.
That was a pretty emotional ending. Good music, good graphics, interesting.
Good performances.
Yeah, great performances. Unique systems. So it's like it was trying to do something different. I sort of mentioned that because like a year later, I haven't touched it in like well over half a year. Like I haven't touched it probably in 9 months, and maybe more than 9 months. I don't remember. I'll say that I don't think I'd be as kind with my review with the time and space. I have a lot more critiques about Death Stranding I did a year ago. So it's kind of like something I wanted to just like state, on the podcast. We talk about Game of the Year this year because who knows if we'll change our view in a year's time.
There might be a split in Game of the Year between me and you this year. I think I don't think we're quite in agreement.
Oh, there won't be a split. I mean, I'll just like say it. Game of the Year this year was probably Ghost of Tsushima.
In terms of games released this year.
Yes. But the best game that I played this year is not Ghost. So we'll get into that. But like, yeah, anyway, Death Stranding, that's a whole, you could make a whole podcast kind of actually tearing apart Death Stranding. I think like now, after a year, just thinking back on Death Stranding, I'm just like, man, there was so much that could have been different. I don't know how much that has to do with just not enough time or what. So
I think like
not enough time to design it or to finish it. They had to put something.
Well, I think it was rushed to a degree, and I also get the feeling that it was somewhat of a budget title. New studio, repurposed team, but it was like a practice test for Kojima Productions. Now that he's split off from Konami, I feel.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I got a new job this year, and before the job I'm at now, I didn't focus much on like product development, software development, or whatever. But like these days, like I'm starting to kind of have to pick up like the realities of that, like how you develop features and like different, like you have like things you got to do, like goals you're trying to build, and parts of the team are doing that, and you have to like kind of structure that, plan that out, and certain things get prioritized, some don't. Like it made me realize that there are a lot of features that people plan to or they really want to do, but they end up having to like kind of put on the back burner,
sacrifice them.
Yeah, it kind of like makes me feel bad because it's hard to say, it's hard to say what he could have done better or what the team could have done better. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a whole different podcast. Just break down Death Stranding, and there's no point. Someday we'll do that maybe when they announce like the next Kojima game, which won't be Death Stranding. But we'll figure that out. So let's get into this game of the year. What's your game of the year?
It's Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay, so why Ghost of Tsushima?
Well, I'm already biased. In college, I studied Japanese history because I liked samurai stuff, and it's already appealing to my own personal tastes. I don't feel like there's been a samurai game quite like this in terms of combat. I feel the best swordplay in a game, an action. I really enjoyed the stances, the use of like switching between like different stances to take on different enemies. I thought that was like a really cool approach to varying up the gameplay. Exploring Tsushima was beautiful and a very personal journey for me. I enjoyed all of the missions. They're very cinematic, and as a fan of Kurosawa films, they definitely appealed to my sensibility and taste.
Yeah, I hear that. Had to play the game on Japanese.
Absolutely. Like, there's no reason not to play that game in Japan. I'm sure the English voice actors are good, and I'm sure they're worthy of whatever awards they may win at the Game Awards this week. But those Japanese voice actors, man, they were emotional.
Game Awards are this week, huh?
Yeah, they're on Thursday, I think.
Really? And we're gonna have a game night on Thursday while Game Awards are happening? My goodness.
I think we did last year too.
We did. We were at actually in the clubhouse. I remember. Shame we can't be in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Ghost of Tsushima also mine, and now I gotta. It's like to say what something is. You must. You don't have to do anything, but to say what something is, sometimes it's good to talk about what it. And to say that, I'll talk about the other game. Last of Us 2. Best graphics, best story, because of the direction of the story and like the fact it's very focused. It's a very plot driven, action title. Ghost of Tsushima is more of like about the Tsushima, and like so when they build a narrative, they build it like for the world. It's like Jin Sakai. He's got his story, but like he's not the only thing. Like there's all these different little mini kind of like parables. You just kind of run into like folklore tales about Tsushima, each one building the kind of personality of this world. It's very rich. It's really good.
I was actually kind of surprised by Jin as a protagonist. In the trailers, he just comes off as kind of an archetypal samurai, but in execution, I thought he was actually a pretty interesting character.
His evolution was an interesting thing, but it made sense. They kind of established not to use negative terms for, but he's kind of like a fragile. He's a fragile type of person. He's like he's got a chip on his like he's like the loss of a family member makes it so like he feels like he has something to, and so it's like his journey is very kind of tortured. Like he wants to maintain his kind of nobility, his pride, things like the samurai. He wants honor. But
he also wants to have his island free.
Yeah, he's like deeply kind of offended and deeply propelled to defend what's his, because last time he didn't. And so he's got to defend. He's got to fight for his island, for his family, for honor. But he also is stuck because the situation won't allow him to do it that his uncle, Lord Shimura, wants to do. Yeah. And so it's kind of really tough. It's a tough situation.
I thought it was handled pretty tactfully, though. The game doesn't really moralize too much, I feel.
It doesn't come on down one side or the other.
Yeah, and it's kind of surprising. There's even the main villain, I forgot his name, the Khan dude.
Yeah. Koten Khan or whatever.
Koten Khan, yeah, that's it. Even he's not like particularly evil. They're probably nicer to him than like actual history is. The Mongolians were pretty vicious. Yeah. But this guy, he was like pretty nice.
He's like, look, I'm taking this over. I've been trained my whole life for this. It's like, other people sharpen their swords. I did as I researched your land. I learned your language. He's like, you guys should be scared. And he's like, we all know Japanese. That's a bad sign for you. And
in real life, he'd just come through and butcher everyone and rape everyone.
Yeah, whoop, did that. That's against the tone of Weeabuds. He would do bad things. Anyway. So yeah, the Kogan Khan dude is he was kind of like interesting. He's like, listen, work with me because like otherwise there's gonna be a lot of death. Like you work with me, it's gonna be all right. And so I don't know. He was reasonable.
In the context of the game, I get the feeling he was probably right, but
Yeah,
he still has to die.
yeah. So Jin is a heroic character, but also does they don't play up his heroic nature as much as they could have. They do that intentionally. They play up some of the other behaviors. It's interesting. I don't want to get too much into it because everyone should play that game. It's a great game. It's a game you get what you put into it.
I feel like we're messing up by not playing the multiplayer.
We played it, but we should be playing it a lot. We should play it like a couple times a week. We should be playing
it more.
At least a couple times a week. It's real bad.
At least two.
That's a good multiplayer, man. I like it.
And I have a feeling it's only going to get better too.
I'm into it. I'm ready. And you mentioned like you heard about a job post that implies they may make DLC or a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, Sucker Punch is hiring for a writer that's educated in Japanese history. So, it might not be Tsushima related, but I get the feeling it's probably Tsushima related.
Yeah, I don't know what they'll do. I don't know what kind of sequel would look like, spin-off.
Maybe DLC.
You never know, right? But I'm ready for it. It's good. It was well done. Hopefully they repeat what was good about what they did, which was do your research, build the world, tell a story through your characters, make it beautiful.
And gameplay. Like, I feel like the story is also told through its gameplay mechanics.
Well, yeah, there were some complaints about, like, okay, well, Jin can be a ghost or he can be a samurai. To be honest, I think, like...
I was both. Like, there's not really, like, a mode where you're, like, ghost mode or samurai mode. You're always both at all times.
Yeah, but, like, he definitely has evolution to be closer to one than... And that's the thing where it's, like, it is a story... not without spoiling, is like it is a story called The Ghost of Tsushima. It's not called The Samurai of Tsushima. So, yeah, so I mean, there is a point to the game. There's not necessarily they don't say what's right or wrong, but they do say sometimes you gotta be a ghost. Sometimes you gotta deal with some ghosts. There's no ghosts. Not to spoil the game. Anyway.
Not in single player mode. There's no ghosts.
There's probably not any in the multiplayer mode either. This is probably a big delusion of some dude telling a story. There were ghosts. He's a blind dude who's telling the multiplayer, like retelling the plot of the main story of the invasion of Tsushima. And the blind storyteller is like, I heard there's a ghost on the island. He's like, my God, he's a ghost.
There's ghosts.
It's a ghost.
There's demons and ghosts.
He's like, someone's like, yeah, it's just one guy. And he's like, I don't believe that. It's got to be at least 4 guys. And maybe one of them's a girl. I heard about that one girl. There are ghosts. So it's ghosts of Tsushima. That's what it is. That's what's happening. He's just like, yeah, man, there's no way one dude did this. He's just like, there are 4 dudes, they got together and they're fighting like some demons and stuff. It's interesting. It's an interesting thing to play that multiplayer. It's like a story-based multiplayer. We're like going and doing missions and like we're advancing up. That's kind of cool. I like it.
Another game that I spent a lot of time on, I think you did too this year, is the game of the pandemic, Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing. Another game of the year canon, for sure. And my mom is still playing Animal Crossing. She's got thousands of hours.
Yeah, I saw her island. It's pretty impressive.
She's gone crazier with it. When was the last time you saw it?
Probably about a month ago.
Yeah, you should go back.
Since Halloween.
You should go back. It's becoming more and more.
Have her update her dream code. I'll check it out.
I see that thing like over the shoulder every now and then. I get freaked out. Anyway, I'm just like, I see. And anyway, but
the thing I'm gonna remember most, this is like the first Animal Crossing when I got involved with the stock market stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the game right there, man. I got incredibly lucky with it. I had like 4 instances where it had like a huge spike, and now I'm like a multi-millionaire, like 40 million bells.
Yeah. It's an interesting game. It's just Animal Crossing. But the thing that's interesting is the context, which is a pandemic. So it was difficult to get a hold of a Switch. I got my sister's Switch through Champ. Thank you. And so she played it for a good period of time, at least a month or so, and then she
I
stopped.
think like a couple months.
Yeah, there was a period there, wasn't there?
Mhm.
And then my mom, she played it. She stuck. I was like, "Hey, try out this Animal Crossing." She's like, "Oh, okay." And then she's just like, "Oh, look at me go," and it's just like, "Whoa, whoa!" And it's just like, you got her the Pokemon games too, and she stuck to those. She was playing Pokemon Go when that came out. It was a big social phenomenon. I guess it still is. And she's unable to go out and do all the cool Pokemon Go communities. Hopefully, when I move to wherever you're at, there'll be some stuff for her to do.
Yeah.
From
My wife got pretty heavy into Animal Crossing too. Like me and her shared an island. To be honest, I think it's mostly her island, and I'm a guest there.
I hear that.
But she's done a lot of really good work though.
So I wanna
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I'm okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I want to really quickly put this personal appeal up. Been a fan of Nintendo for years. I like the quality, consistent quality. They manage their IPs. They keep a close, they keep a close grip on the important. But I'm really concerned about the future.
About Joy-Cons?
I'm concerned because the Joy-Con drift problem. We finally got to a point where I'm insulted. Look at
It's kind of bad that it's been 2 years since we first learned about Joy-Con drift. There's like a pending class action lawsuit, and yet they still haven't announced a revision for the Joy-Cons.
They'll be fine. A revision of the Joy-Cons would be such substantial evidence against them that they just can't do it. They're not gonna do it. They can't do it. They can't make. It'll be like basically conceding. It's just not good. It's not a good thing for them. They have to just kind of weather it for the next iteration. It's got to be a full-blown iteration, and they're waiting until it's the right market to do it. Personally, I think a pandemic market is actually a smart market. For games, if they had a successor to the Switch, like an upgraded model of the Switch, this would be a good time. I mean, I would think this would be a fantastic time to release that thing. But waiting,
it's look at the PlayStation 5 and Xbox launch. That's scalpers, but they're
everybody wants
sales.
People want that. Look at the moment I can get a PS5, it's mine. That thing. If I see a PS5, if I see two, I'm gonna buy two. Like, it's as simple as that. Somebody wants that. That's all I know. Mm-hmm. I'm not doing it to scalp. I'm gonna sell it to them at the right rate. I just know I'm gonna make someone's day. I don't know whose day I'm gonna make, but if you see a PlayStation 5, you call somebody. That's the kind of it's a nightmare. Listen to what I just said. It's crazy. It's like you can't get it.
I'm not gonna buy from a scalper. I refuse.
No, hell no. Come on.
The moment I can walk into Walmart and there's a PlayStation 5 in stock, that's what I'm gonna get. I'm not gonna deal with online shopping stuff. It's out of hand.
If I get PS5 or if I see a PS5 in a Walmart, like an extra one, and I can't call you, do I just buy it?
Yes.
Without a doubt, right? Yeah, there's no doubt. That's to do that for me too. You don't try to contact me.
No, it's
you say I bought you a PS5.
Friends buy each other PS5s.
Yeah, exactly. That's damn right. Damn right.
And if you don't take it, then champ my one.
There's no outcome where I didn't take it. Yeah. Digital edition only. I'm not getting the optical drive.
No, I'll wait. Other than the only reason I would see me buying the optical version is for a 4K Blu-ray player, but I'd rather just buy a 4K Blu-ray player for $30.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with it. No on the optical drive for $100 more, and for an increased likelihood of my system breaking. There's no need for that. I don't need to play with that. Anyway, PS5. Okay, so I'm gonna go real quick talking about the game of the year, not game of the year 2020, but the game of this year. The best game I played this, without a doubt, is Horizon Zero Dawn. This is a game that initially released in 2017?
2017.
My goodness, Mike. I remember that you played it and you were like, this beginning is boring. Looked glorious, great graphic.
But it looks good, but I didn't like Alloy, and I didn't like the beginning because it was kind of slow. Yeah, absolutely. I hear what you're saying. And I started picking that up when I saw it on sale a year ago before Death Stranding. Why'd you decide to play it now?
It was kind of on the backlog, and I was like, man, if I don't get to this before I start this new job, I'm never gonna like play this game. And I saw the Forbidden West like trailer, and I was like, man, I remember seeing some really cool stuff when I had like started getting into it last year, and then I stopped playing because Death Stranding time. And so I was like, I tried telling you a bit about that. I was like, man, Mike, there's some stuff in this you gotta check out. And I started kind of going insane, taking all these beautiful screenshots. And I was like,
you're sending me screenshots like
every day,
at least 5 a day.
Yeah, just because it looked so good. Like, what were your thoughts on the screenshots I was sending?
I'll just put it this way: like towards the end of your playthrough in the game, you sent me like a picture of like a mountain range. I forgot where it was, and like I saw that, I'm like, man, this game looks amazing. And you're like, nah, that's just like a real picture of a mountain range.
No, I was like, yeah,
I couldn't tell the difference.
You're just like, whoa, my god! You started staring at it. You're like, he's right. It is a real mountain range. And then I was like, hell yeah, it wasn't. And it was like, my god. And then you're like, man, I'm confused. It looks so good.
Yeah, it's probably the best looking on the PlayStation 4 as far as I'm aware.
Of course, I think most people would say the best looking game on PlayStation 4 is Red Dead Redemption.
I could see that argument.
Yeah, I'm sure it's better looking. I don't know, but like when you're competing at this level, it's like truly some two titans fighting.
It's kind of surprising. I actually loved the first Red Dead Redemption. I don't know why I didn't play Red Dead Redemption 2.
I don't know.
It's kind of weird.
Well, don't remember. You made a deal. You're gonna play that Horizon Zero Dawn game.
Yeah, the moment I get a PlayStation 5, even though I already own the game for PlayStation 4, I'm gonna play it on.
I'm like, Mike, you gotta play this Horizon Zero Dawn. So the reason why it's important to talk about this, it's kind of funny because the game of the year, the best game that came out in 2020, I felt was ultimately Ghost of Tsushima. There were other games like I said, Last of Us 2 has a better kind of narrative and better graphics. But in terms of the best game, I think it's Ghost of Tsushima. Final Fantasy VII Remake had a fantastic JRPG combat system, but ultimately the whole cohesiveness of the package, it just goes to Ghost of Tsushima. They were trying to do something.
Yeah, I wouldn't put Final Fantasy VII Remake above. It was fun, but
Ghost had some problems. One of the biggest problem to me is actually the lack of a loadout swap, quick loadout change.
But Tristan, they've added that.
But Mike, we had the game for over a month before they added that. Like it was like 2 months or some crazy number of time. Sometime
like we were done and beating it. I think they announced it like a week after we beat it.
Yeah, it's like you got it. No, because it was such a good thing to like have that option, and we just never had that option. And I'm not gonna play through that game again. I did it. I had fun with it. It was great. It's just not happening. I'm not playing it again.
Maybe I'll maybe mess around, but I did all the stuff. Yeah. I 100%ed it.
They had you didn't 100% it now because they added content for like post game type stuff.
Maybe I'll check it out.
Nothing too substantial. Just new stuff you can collect and do random.
That's cool. Any honorable mentions that you wanna to mention before we close out?
Just want to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn. Again, to say the DLC that they added for Horizon Zero Dawn was an animal, like a super beast. It was so good, and I think without the DLC, that game would not be as impressive. And I beat the DLC before I beat the end. I wasn't as impressed with the ending of Horizon Zero Dawn. That's one thing that, even though I feel so, Horizon Zero Dawn, like its structure in terms of like how the world's built, exploration, the stories, or like the quest type stuff, a lot of the gameplay mechanics, it reminds me a lot of Ghost. Like I really feel like the people at Sucker Punch might have referenced that, and maybe there's just so much overlap in the way that these kind of adventure games are, that like that's not a Horizon Zero Dawn thing. It's like that job. But like, I just felt like when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, I was like, man, this reminds me a lot of Horizon Zero Dawn. And it's just like not as graphically impressive of a version of Horizon Zero Dawn. And maybe that was part of the reason why I needed to follow up with Horizon Zero. And but it was really good. The one area that Ghost of Tsushima excels in compared to Horizon Zero Dawn. That ending was, I don't want to spoil it. I felt it was like really hard hitting and a big, it was a culmination. It was good. I don't really have too many honorable mentions. Do you have any? We talked about a lot of that. Kingdom Hearts 3, taking it back for combat systems.
I think pretty much it for me. Any games you're looking forward to next year?
Horizon Forbidden West.
That's not coming out next year.
Probably not. Probably 2021. 22? No, I think it's 21. Next year is 2021.
I don't think, to be honest, it's hard to say what games are coming out this pandemic. We were supposed to have all of the Super Smash Brothers characters out already, but that didn't happen. We're still 4 more, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but Final Fantasy 16 is coming out next year, allegedly.
Yeah, so Horizon Forbidden West, they say 2021. I'll believe it. It said Q3, Q4, 2021.
That's going to become a Q1, Q2, 2022. Usually.
Absolutely. Hell yeah. And it's going to look stupid. It's going to... The
trailer was impressive, I'll say that. That's the only PlayStation 5 trailer that they had that actually looked like a next-gen game.
You were making the comment that Horizon Zero Dawn looks like a next-gen game.
Oh, what's it? Forbidden West, right?
Yeah, but no, it's like you were saying that at some point that Horizon Zero Dawn might as well look like it looks as good as some of the other PS5 games. Like in turn graphically, it's like they weren't really looking that impressive. PS5 games weren't like Final Fantasy 16 didn't look that good. The Resident Evil game, The Village or whatever, didn't look that good. Dark Souls or Demon Souls looks cool, looks good.
Isn't that just like a remake though?
Yeah, it's a remake, but it still looks good. But there isn't much on the system that looks like that I've seen so far that's like, wow, we've done it. We're in the next gen.
It just looks like PS4 games. PS4 games that load in 2 seconds.
That's cool.
Well, next time we'll talk about the anime that we watched this year. Until then, Weeabud signing out.